All right, greetings and welcome to the Eccentric Perspective. I am your host, Blake Wally. Going to be running a quick impromptu show today as it is March 5th of 2025. Normally I go Tuesday and Thursday, but I figure we might as well do a quick special episode update, some takeaways on the big Trump speech last night, an unofficial State of the Union address. We did a special report and a live stream last night with Mike Barra and crew, Dr. Brooks Agnew, Steve Doran, the trail boss. We had a special guest, James. But we didn't get a lot of talking in between because we're mostly just watching it in real time. But this news is not going to stay fresh for long, so we'll knock out a quick one. If you guys want to participate or throw your opinions in, feel free. Feedback, breaking news, what have you, in the chat room, and then we'll take it from there. I'm going to jump to the headlines. We'll run a quick intro. I plan to do a very quick show today, but we shall see. All right, there's the thumbnail. It was quite a spectacle last night. And I guess we could say, are the Democrats finished? It's not a good look last night, not from the body language or the theatrics. I think Trump nailed it no matter what you want to believe, but maybe I'm wrong. Feel free to disagree with me and we can have that conversation as well. Here are the headlines I have for today. Is there anything Trump can do to make the Democrats happy? That was one of the lines he threw out last night. Makes an interesting point. Were the Democrat antics, were they helpful to get the messaging out? And were Democrats justified for not clapping for anything? And did the polling actually show viewers' disapproval with the speech? And Nicole Wallace, does she deserve termination from MSNBC? Finally, a note on the Supreme Court. Did they make the right decision on their $2 billion for USAID? These stories, perhaps more, we shall see on the other side of this intro. Okay, well, let's begin. I'm going to make this pretty quick. I think a lot of people have already seen most of the highlights by now, so I don't want to spend too much time on them. But just for the record, we'll go over a few. So let's take a look at the Epic Times, the 12 takeaways from Trump's first major policy speech to Congress. And the achievements so far, only in 42 days. It's been moving along very quickly. And he even said it's been done more in 40 days than a lot of administrations have probably done in 4 years. And that could be true. He promised some tax cuts all around, which was nice. Closing the border, deportations underway. I did really enjoy the common sense revolution and just the direct trolling that he was doing directly to the Democrats. They did not look well. They did not take it well. And they had their little signs, their little like ping pong paddles trying to troll back, but it didn't work. He's referencing an executive order declaring it's just common sense. The federal government recognizes only two sexes based on biological sex and not gender ideology. Executive order stripping federal funding for schools that allow males to compete in female sports. I mean, this is ridiculous, but this is how absurd the Democrats got over the years. A little pushback, and they did not handle that well. It's not, I don't think history is going to look too kindly on the leftist at this time frame, but we shall see. Also, an unofficial policy apply. Let's see. Did bring up some interesting people up there. One of them was Peyton McNabb, a female athlete who suffered injuries while playing volleyball against a male player. So we had some interesting optics from that. Explain the tariffs could be a temporary disturbance. You know, we're $37 trillion in debt, or pretty close. So it's time to start making some more money for our country. Everything's been off balance for too long. Really enjoyed the Doge findings highlighted. And the Democrats just had to sit there and get humiliated in front of the country. I'll go over some of those. Promising a balanced budget, spotlighted several of the victims, including Lake and Riley, by the disastrous open border policy from the Democrats. They did appeal to Greenlanders, talked about little ongoing exchanges with Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine, and perhaps we are going to be pushing for world peace. We shall see. Also thought it was interesting. I guess they've arrested one of the terrorists over in Afghanistan for the bombing and killing 13 U.S. service members. So that'll be interesting, seeing him brought to justice. Democrats responded, but didn't go over that well. And one of them got pulled out, Al Green. And then I'm also going to go over the this has got a few more video clips. Again, we'll touch and go here. Top 13 moments from Trump's 2025 address to Congress. This out of the Federalist, with clips blasting Democrats for rooting against American success. And we also saw that at the end. As the response from the Democrats, kind of a little back and forth on who's celebrating American exceptionalism. But Trump certainly wants to make America great again, and the Democrats have a very strange idea of what they want to believe America is supposed to be. So there's a bit of a disconnect there, which is why a lot of people wanted to vote for Trump. And he pointed that all out. He won fair and square. There's no denying the results of the election and his dominance, including all of the swing states. And restoring representative government, saying the federal bureaucracy, the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over. Let's take a look at this one.
Because we are draining the swamp. It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
Yeah, gloves off in this second term. They kept him in a box in the first term. Kept the offense, kept the pressure on him. Had him on defense, defending himself from weird accusations of Russian collusion. A couple of impeachments. Relentless lawfare after he was out of office. And now he's back. And he's trolling them directly, having some fun. And it was a delight to see, at least for me. Honoring the victims of Biden's open border policy. Of course, we already covered that. Lake and Riley, and there was also a couple other people that were victims. They deserve some recognition last night, and it's sickening the way that the Democrats just sat there. But I guess they just had to take it, but they deserved it. It was their insane policy that led to unnecessary deaths of our fine American citizens, to just dangerous, gang members that had no reason to be here. Let's take another highlight was Al Green getting the boot. So there's only one. I thought there might be more. They would be putting up more of a fight, but there really wasn't anything to do. And Mike Johnson kind of put an end to that quick with the Sergeant of Arms. Let's take a look at Al Green getting removed.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant at Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant at Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
Well, he was warned twice and stood defiant. And now he's apparently going to impeach Trump again. Let me take a quick sidetrack here with Al Green getting his... I guess he did what he wanted to. I don't know if anybody cared. But it was a highlight. It's always interesting. Got to give him credit for that, I suppose. The disgraceful outburst forced Mike Johnson to intervene, but now he's doubled down. He's vowing to push yet another baseless impeachment against Trump. As let's see, Green ignored the warnings, continued shouting, making a spectacle of himself, and then he was swiftly removed, and that was kind of the end of that. No other Democrats let themselves get removed after. So, anyway, yeah, as one temper tantrum, couldn't handle the reality of a strong and successful Trump administration. And outside the chamber, Green wasted no time whining to reporters and painting himself as some noble martyr for the poor people. But anyway, it's just another publicity stunt. It's going to be his second time going for impeachments. And what is it? He's saying the president is unfit. He should not hold office because he's got 34 felony convictions, twice impeached, and he's going to try to do a third one. But I don't think that's going to get anywhere. Here we go. Okay, well, we're not going to watch the rest of that clip. He's kind of irrelevant. He's over his head. But he tried. All right, well, we'll move on. More highlights here. We got One Healthy Country with RFK making a joke about all the people on the Social Security databases aged over 160 years. There's about 130,000 people. Of course, we know that they're not actually that old, but you have people abusing the system and still collecting checks. which was stopped. It was spotlighted and stopped by the Doge team. It's been embarrassing for the Democrats. And they got called out on that again last night, even though they're in denial about it. Many people are saying the highlight of the night was the new president and the border policy. So let's run this quick clip.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Oh yeah, they just want new legislation. Oh, we can't do a border bill without having, $60 billion going to Ukraine, the $20 billion going to Israel, going to Taiwan. You can't just focus on the border. No, you just had to switch the president and get some common sense policy that changed things very quickly and put a stop to the, looks like the Democratic plan to just import new voters to keep them in power, but it failed. And that was good to see. And then he also dunked on the Democrat lawfare as they tried to imprison him for the election. So let's take a look at this.
And we've ended weaponized government where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good.
No. Yeah, 34 felonies, convicted rapist, blah, 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 blah. Danger to democracy. Gotta lock him up. Now he's your president. Sit down, take a seat. Lawfare, it was horrible, and it failed. New member of the Secret Service. This was one of the great moments of the night, of course, and I'm just going to run a quick clip and we'll break it down a little bit. We've all seen it, but yeah, it is a very, it's not a good moment for the Democrats.
Thank you, DJ.
You know, it was just an easy, heartwarming moment of the night where everybody can, be human and celebrate this little kid who's gone through several different surgeries, brain cancer, been through just a tremendous ordeal. And they made him an honorary member of the Secret Service. He wants to be a police officer. And the Democrats just sat there stone-faced, couldn't say anything, couldn't even look at it, couldn't clap, nothing. They're just bitter, angry, awful people. Of course, he's standing for gender sanity. Again, this is all common sense stuff here. He's offered strong condemnation of radical leftist efforts to force radical gender ideology on children, transing minors with harmful chemicals and surgeries. So here's another quick clip.
I also signed an order to cut off all taxpayer funding to any institution that engages in the sexual mutilation of our youth. And now I want Congress to pass a bill permanently banning and criminalizing sex changes on children and forever ending the lie that any child is trapped in the wrong body. This is a big lie.
Just mental illness from the modern leftists. And again, there's a terrible moment for them when they just have to realize that their ideology is awful. They're on the wrong side of history. And now we have the adults back in charge. All right. He also mentioned, yes, revitalizing the military. They also honored Corey Compratore, who was unfortunately killed during the failed assassination attempt on Trump. He just happened to be back there bravely defending his family. And so they honored his family that was there.
To Helen, Allison, and Kaylee, Corey is looking down on his three beautiful ladies right now, and he is cheering you on. He loves you. He is cheering you on. Corey was taken from us much too soon, but his destiny was to leave us all with a shining example of the selfless devotion of a true American patriot. It was love like Corey's that built our country, and it's love like Corey's that is going to make our country more majestic than ever before.
Well, good to see that. And we also have roasting Pocahontas. This is other bizarre moment for the Democrats. This is how much they've changed. No longer recognize this party. They used to be the anti-war party, but apparently now they are ready to give all funds and support to Ukraine, even for another 5 years. So this was, I'll give Pocahontas some credit. She was a good sport after getting called out on it. Elizabeth Warren. So let's check this one out.
Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
Democrats have turned into mindless cult followers over the Ukraine war. It's bizarre to see. But yeah, it's how much they've changed in the last 20 years. It's really quite frightening. And they haven't taken it well that Doge is going after all of their slush fund money. And Trump got a lot of big laughs. And this is good. This is something that everybody needs to see. The news can certainly filter things in a way and spin things, but a lot of people do watch these speeches directly, and this is going to have an impact when they see this about this wasteful spending, because you're probably not going to read about this in NPR. They're just going to talk about, oh my God, Elon Musk, he's going into your Social Security and he's looking at your tax records. Well, no, they're wasting billions of dollars, and it needs to be exposed. That's our money. Throwing it away on the dumbest stuff. It was a long clip, 8.5 minutes, so I'm not gonna play that whole thing. But that was glorious to see as he broke it all down, and then you got to see the stupid looks on the Democrats' faces as they had to sit there and take it. But they did it to themselves. So yeah, what was it? $22 billion for housing and automobiles, I guess, for illegal aliens. $45 million for DEI scholarships in Burma. Really? $40 million for inclusion of sedentary migrants. $8 million to promote LGBTQ in Lesotho. That's what Trump said, a country we've never even heard of, but somehow they got $8 million just to promote gay and lesbian stuff. Are you kidding me? $60 million for Afro-Colombian empowerment, $8 million for making mice transgender, $32 million for left-wing propaganda in Moldova, $10 million for male circumcision in Mozambique, $20 million for Arab Sesame Street. Called out Stacey Abrams, $1.9 billion for decarbonization, $3.5 million for lavish fish monitoring, and $1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. We won't run the clip, but that was hilarious. People watching can finally find out where their money's all going. Okay, and I guess that brings me to the next question here. Is there anything that Trump can do to make the Democrats happy? And yes, he also asked that. What could he do? He says, this is my 5th such speech to Congress. He looks at the Democrats in front of me and he realizes there is absolutely nothing that he can say to make them happy or make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing. I don't know if I have a particular clip on this one, but we've already seen this. But I guess that is a good question. They didn't all night. Couldn't for anybody. Victims, family, mothers that lost their children, kids with brain cancer. Nothing moved them. They stood defiant. The mindless cult followers. So, what did they do? Even David Axelrod here, face palms at the Democratic antics, saying the Trump's congressional address, they weren't helpful. So let's take a look at that. I don't know if I have that. Yeah, we're mostly talking about them holding up the paddles. Let's take here we go.
I don't think the performative stuff was very helpful at all last night. But, you know, here's the deal. Both parties in some ways are captives of their bases. And I think that there are a lot of members of Congress who probably come from districts that are overwhelmingly Democratic, who feel like their constituents are expecting them to be very actively protesting what the president is doing. So just as on the Republican side, you know, the base loves the stuff that enrages people who aren't in the base. And so the members respond to that. This is one of the problems with a highly polarized country. Mark?
Well, look, I think the reality is that the president loves having a foil, and I think the Democrats looked foolish last night, waving those silly paddles.
That's pretty awesome. So it's not only Axelrod, it's anyone else on CNN. They had to admit the obvious. Did not go well.
And I think Al Green looked like an angry old man waving a cane, and I think that just benefits the president. And it sort of paints a caricature of what his opposition is. And so I think that he relishes that sort of a foil, and I think Democrats played right into his hand last night.
Nailed it. Absolutely. It's a clown show. Big, cringy clown show. To show you how completely out of touch, how lost they are. Mindless cult followers with their sorry little signs. And how they've basically stranded themselves on the wrong side of history. So I don't know how they're going to recover from that. Here it is. The cringe Democrats throw hissy fits, hold up their signs during the Trump speech, and it was an embarrassment to America. Here they are, just saying save Medicaid. I don't think there's any, I don't know where that's even coming from. Have they talked about getting rid of Medicaid? I don't know about that. They're trying to fearmonger people. Not getting rid of any useful programs as far as I know. They're just cutting all the waste, fraud, and abuse, or at least as much as they can. Even Stephen Colbert was critical of the Democrats. That's how bad last night. So let's take a look at this quick clip.
The man barked out one appalling claim after another, but don't you worry. The Democrats came ready to fight back with their little paddles, okay? That is how you save democracy, by quietly dissenting or bidding on an antique tea set. It was hard to tell what was going on. I'm just kidding. That was very cool, Democrats. In fact, I made my own sign.
Yeah, they need to change everything. Big evaluation. Get rid of the squad. Get rid of the old dinosaurs. I don't know who's going to be the new leadership going forward, but they're going to have to come back to reality. It's going to be painful. Long road ahead. I guess they got a few years. But, yeah, they are obviously on the wrong side of history. And it looked like a bunch of, caricatures. Like a Rashida Tlaib. Did not go well. Oh, yes, this is a great graphic here showing all of the insanity from the previous administration. It's like a freak show and drag queens and weird leftist activists. All right. Yeah, it's they need to find a new identity, or they're going to have a lot of trouble getting elected going forward, winning any more elections. Babylon B, having some fun with that. Yeah, husband holding up the false paddle during an argument with wife. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue. We got the Trump derangement syndrome suffering Democrats refuse to clap for the cancer kid, families of Americans killed by illegals, and more. They have a list here of all the things that the Democrats refused to applaud last night. Little boy battling cancer, cracking down on crime, helping working families, catching terrorists who killed Americans, destroying cartels, honoring a young girl killed by an illegal, honoring Laken Riley, who was also killed by an illegal, deporting criminals who kill and harm Americans, and bringing American citizens held prisoner back home. Yeah, not a good look. And speaking of, I got another Babylon B article here. Democrats file articles of impeachment against the little black boy cancer. They might as well. What a terrible look. Even their own people are just stunned. But they need it. They need a wake-up call. Who do these people represent? What happened to these guys? Just really lost touch with reality. Oh, speaking of which, this is not satire. What is this creature? This is one of the Democrats. I forget. I think it's from Vermont or New Hampshire. That is a monster. Yeah, I like this comment here from Kurt Schlichter. He's the first I would consult. Yeah, if we needed a recipe to cook children, this is probably who you would consult to gather ingredients for the cauldron. That is a Halloween character. I don't know what's wrong with that. They've just they've turned into demons. Not a good night. All right, so speaking of that, let's put a little cap on that. Headlines. Did the polling show viewers disapproval with the speech? Some pleasant surprises here. As let's take a look at this one first. CBS News poll. Large majority of the viewers approve of Donald Trump's speech. So this is leftist CBS, 76 approve, 76%. That's huge. From a left-leaning audience. Of course, you're going to get that 23% of the hardcore leftist Democrats that are going to go along with everything. Those are your cult followers. They almost don't count. They're not intellectually honest. They're going to vote no matter what, anti-Trump and for whatever crazed leftists ideology or what have you. So that's devastating. And then the second one I wanted to show out of CNN. Let's watch this quick clip.
To the results. What was your reaction to Trump's speech? 44% of speech watchers in our instant poll tonight say they had a very positive reaction to Trump's speech. 25% somewhat positive, 31% negative.
Okay. Well, there you go. That means that's in line with the other poll. The other one was 76% approve, just approve or disapprove. Now it's just, positive. So that's, if you're looking at the positive, you can add those numbers and it's 69% would view it as positive, even by the crazed leftists at CNN. They had to admit it. Trump nailed it last night. You don't have to like him. But you can't deny his patriotism. He is a great leader. He is what America needs right now. And we need to bring this country back into common sense. He's the man for the job. It's very refreshing, and it's good to see that people can kind of break through the mainstream narratives. You can't frame certain things. People are just going to watch the speech directly and not have it filtered through the MSM. And once they see it, form their own opinion, they can say it's positive. So that was good. All right, well, let's see. We got a couple more stories. One is just awful. We're going to jump into now, and that's Nicole Wallace from MSNBC. Does she deserve to be terminated from MSNBC? Because this was just shocking. She went off the rails last night. So did Maddow to a degree, but it was really Wallace who stole the show. So it was a heartfelt moment during the, President Donald Trump's address with the recognition of the 13-year-old cancer survivor, DJ Daniel. And Maddow criticized it. She said, for the record, and this is disgusting, the president made a spectacle out of praising a young man who thus far has survived pediatric cancer, as if the president had something to do with that. Have to find something negative to say, of course. But Nicole Wallace took it 10 steps further. And then a shameful display. Let's take a look at her.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have...
Starts off nice. Yeah. Hope that he becomes a cop and that he lives to be, another 95 years. Maybe he could get Social Security checks till he's 160. Okay, so it starts out nice enough. This is what you're supposed to say. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like that that Trump this makes Trump look good. It's for everybody to celebrate. But some people, they have to find some ways to be, Debbie Downers, and to spin things negatively. And this is what she did.
Childhood cancer that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide.
Really? That's where she went. So he wants to be a police officer. And so you say, well, I hope he doesn't become, part of the DC Capitol Police and has to defend the Capitol against the violent insurrectionists. that she hopes that he doesn't commit suicide like several of those police officers apparently did. I'm not buying that story. I don't think any of them actually committed suicide. Maybe one. I think they didn't want to go along with the narrative of the BS insurrection, and they were taken out. I'd bet on that. There's no reason. It did not get that out of hand. Why would they possibly want to commit suicide? Because what, it was just they were too overwhelmed from the all the protesters at the Capitol. Is that normal for riot police? You know, I've attended a lot of protests in my day, and I've never heard of such a thing. Where just police officers they couldn't handle it. It's just too psychologically distressing, and they just had to kill themselves. No. And then they tried to frame that one narrative as Brian Sicknick was beaten with a fire extinguisher. That turned out to be BS. And I am highly suspicious of any of these supposed suicides. They had an agenda to frame this whole January 6th thing as a violent insurrection to try to overthrow democracy. And they're still trying to cling on to that narrative, even if they have to do mental gymnastics and say awful things. They didn't need to go there. Celebrate this kid. Instead, you turned it into some weird thing about January 6th and suicide. Just sickening.
Trump supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then lived to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
She is evil. Twisted. What a sick person. I thought Maddow was bad, but man, Nicole Wallace, man. Yeah, I think she should absolutely be terminated. She should get up there and apologize. I think she's an intelligence operative, but whatever. So they'll probably keep her no matter what, because she'll say anything as long as she's protecting the deep state. But she is awful. If they can get rid of Joy Reid, they need to Nicole Wallace needs to go next. Just no humanity. All right. Well, that was fun. I just have one more quick story. Cool. I can keep this show under an hour. Just a quick update, impromptu on Wednesday. Kind of thinking my normal show days will be 4 o'clock Eastern time, Tuesday and Thursday, with probably one weekend show just for an update. Got to keep some regular content going for a while and see if I can break through the algorithms finally. We shall see. Thank you, everybody, for your support. And let's do the final topic on the Supreme Court. A strange ruling today. A stunning ruling, as they're saying, from Alito here. Let's take a look. So the Supreme Court, they're forcing the Trump administration to shell out $2 billion in foreign grant money. So the U.S. Supreme Court, they greenlit an overreaching lower court order that effectively forces the Trump administration to disperse $2 billion in foreign grant money in a 5-4 decision because of a ruling made by just a DC district court. On February 25th, Judge Amir Ali, a Biden appointee, the directive ordered the State Department and U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, to disperse $2 billion in foreign grants. The money doesn't have to be paid back. We talked about all these Doge stuff and all these. I don't know where this money is going or what it's for. I guess it's to non-governmental groups for work already completed before the issuance of the district's court's temporary restraining order. Was it money that they're owed? I don't this is something that needs to be dug in, but it's a strange ruling here so far that I have seen. So Ali had previously issued a temporary restraining order on February 13th, preventing Trump administration from lawfully pausing the distribution of such funds. But Chief Justice John Roberts joined Amy Coney Barrett with the Democrat activist appointees in denying the administration's request. And in the Samuel Alito, in his dissenting opinion, excoriated the majority for authorizing the lower court's judicial overreach, noting that the decision to do so left him stunned. He's saying, does a single district court judge who likely lacks jurisdiction have the unchecked power to compel the government of the United States to pay out $2 billion of our taxpayer dollars? And the answer to that question should be an emphatic no. But a majority of this court apparently thinks otherwise. Also said the Supreme Court has a duty to ensure that the power entrusted to federal judges by the Constitution is not abused. And that by refusing to grant the administration's application, the High Court fails to carry out that responsibility. I don't know why they're letting one of these lower... this is strange. But there is going to be pushback. Representative Thomas Massey demanding Congress cut off USAID funding after the outrageous ruling. So we'll see. Congress to take immediate action to defund USAID over the outrageous ruling, the jaw-dropping betrayal of American taxpayers and constitutional integrity. The Supreme Court caved to the radical left, stomping over the executive authority. So, all right, well, we'll see how that plays out. It's a little drama up there today, so maybe a little bad news. It's $2 billion. I know they've cut out a lot more, but I'll have to get more information on that. But weird. I mean, I always expect John Roberts to choose poorly when it makes when he has a chance to make a difference. Surprised on Barrett though, but oh well, we'll find out. We'll dig in, and then we'll have another show tomorrow. Perhaps there will be an update on that, get more clarity. But there we go. Okay, we'll do it. Yes. Okay, the goal is complete. Do a quick show, get an update. Yeah, this news is not going to age well if I wait until tomorrow. So impromptu, special late, eccentric perspective show. Well, I do appreciate you guys for being here. Please like, subscribe, and we'll do it again tomorrow, but a regular time, 4 o'clock Eastern. We'll see what the news brings there. So, okay, that's all I've got. Thank you very much, everybody. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Feel free to drop by tomorrow. And that's all I've got. So, love you guys. Take care. I am out.